I'm going to show you exactly how to assign all the data in your Clay tables into a database, into a central database platform, otherwise known as a client database platform, to store and gather all the data that you've ever collected across all your web scrapes. In this case, obviously, it's RevyOps because I am the owner of RevyOps, Benjamin Reed. There's many reasons you want to do this. For outbound GTM agencies, the number one reason is simple. It's because you don't want to re-enrich and re-pull the same records over and over and over again. So the first thing we have to do is push the data that you're collecting from all your web scrapes that end up in Clay or even CSV files into RevyOps. Now you can upload directly into RevyOps via CSV file. For this training, we're going to talk about Clay and how you create companies and create contacts associated with those companies in your database platform that can later be referenced within Clay in future web scrapes. This way, you don't have to go back to the original source like Apollo or like Crunchbase. You can go directly into your own database that doesn't have 50K row limits or any rate throttling limits or any other problems that you see with Clay like slow runtimes. Now you can work within Clay, but also have a master list of all your clients across all your agency clients if you're an agency or your own contacts if you're a company, all in one place. Let's get in the training and I'll see you guys in there now.
This video, I'll be showing you how to push in data from Clay into your RevyOps client database. The way we're going to do it, we need two requests, one of which is a company, and the next one is add a contact. The way this actually works behind the scenes is you need to add the company first, and the reason why, when you add the company, we actually return to you within Clay a company ID. When you push the contact through, you're going to use that company ID to essentially create a relationship within the RevyOps database to say, this contact works for this company. So you're nesting those contacts underneath those companies. Might sound complicated, it's not. I'll show you how to do it now. So add a company, let's start with that first. The method here is post. So you'll either see post, you'll see patch, you'll see get. Whatever you see in this little pill here, you will put in this section. So you'll add an enrichment, HTTP API, press configure, and you'll see method. Under this method, you'll see get, post, patch, put, delete, head, options. Whatever you see within the pill, this section, throw it into this section here. And the same goes for the endpoint. Whatever you see in this section, you throw in this section here, right? So the method, the endpoint, pretty easy, pretty straightforward because we give that all to you just over here. It's a copy and paste type of job. The next section is the body. I want to quickly touch on this because you have two types of requests which you'll send through. One of which is using bodies, which you're seeing right here. The other one is using parameters. For those of you that don't understand the difference between them, all I'll tell you is if you do see where it says body and you see body under the request you're trying to send, then you want to use this section body, right? If I click on the one above, which is this one, you see parameters and you don't see body, and instead it says parameters, then you're going to want to use this section here where it says query parameters and then add new key and value pair. And you'll see key 1, key 2, key 3, depending on how many you generate. So I just want to make that clear because there are two different types of requests. Typically, when you're sending a get request, you'll be using parameters. And when you're sending a post request, you'll be using a body. So just want to throw that out there for those of you because I know it's a question that does come up. Now, back to the body. So we give you an example value. You can actually copy this and paste that example value underneath the body section, just like this. So the headers, you're going to want to throw in x-API-key, and then the value will be your API key, which you'll find at the top, just here. So you can click on this a little clipboard icon. You can then paste that in there, and then that's pretty much the setup. From there, all you need to do, this one's pretty straightforward. You can now map in domain to domain, name to name. Now, what I mean by that is you're now going to map in the correct columns from Clay into the body, so into the request. Do not change the green section. So where it says domain, name, company custom fields, field name, field value, do not change those. Those are not meant to be changed. You only want to change where it says string or where it will say number. So do not touch the green ones. Touch the other ones. The difference is this is a key. The keys need to be predefined. Do not touch those. Only modify these. Right. I think I've said that enough. So the string, we'll delete the string. And then what you'll do is map domain to the correct column within Clay. In this case, as you can see, domain, we're mapping to company domain. It needs to be within speech marks as well. So those speech marks, they come with the example value. So it's within speech marks for a reason to make sure they remain in there. It looks like this, domain to company domain, name, remove that. We'll map name to company name. Now the company custom fields. Again, do not change these ones in green, field name and field value, only change where it says a string. The way this works is if you want to add an additional company custom field name will be the custom field name, which you want. In this case, let's do website for an example. And then the field value here will be the column within Clay. So it'll look something like this. Company custom fields, field name, website, field value, the mapping of the website, right? If you want to add in additional company custom fields, you can actually copy this object, paste again, and then you can add in something else, such as country, like this, and then map in country. There we go. Country, just like that, right? Only thing to note here before you send this request off, if you are to add in multiple company custom fields or contact custom fields, it's going to work the same for the next request we are sending. If you add more than one, just make sure that you add in these trailing commas. So all company custom fields must have trailing commas except the last one. So if you add in fields, they all need these trailing commas at the end, this one here and this one here, except the last one here. So I'll delete this because we don't actually need those. And it was just for the example. Now, what we'll do is we would then save and don't run. Let's rename the title. So add a company, RevyOps, like that. And now let's send some requests through. See what happens. So status code 201, which means the request was successful. If you click on that request, you'll then see a company ID is returned to you. You can see the name, domain, updated time. Updated time is really just the time that you made that request. And then the company custom fields. So essentially all of this is pretty much confirming to you the push has been successful and the data is now stored within RevyOps. We can actually check this at this point as well. So let's have a look at concord.com. If we go into the company list, because we've just pushed the company through, you should see concord.com, right? So this one here, and you should also be able to see, if we refresh the page, any custom fields which we push through. There we go, country and website. Here is proof. The data is now stored within RevyOps. Now this is cool. This is good. But the next step is actually pushing contacts underneath those companies. So it's great. We now have Concord as a company within RevyOps, but now we want to assign members of Concord.com. The way we would do that is by clicking on integrations, going back onto Clay. Now you want to use added contact. It's a very similar style of setup. So again, post, this is the endpoint. We go back onto here, add enrichment, HTTP, click on it, click figure, again, method, post, because that's what it says. Endpoint, we'll paste that endpoint in. Now let's check, what are we using? Parameters or body? Here you can see body. So I'm going to copy the example value, copy and paste. And then you're going to want to do the exact same style of matching, right? Email to email, first name to first name, last name to last name. Now, this section here is actually the most important part, company ID. What you want to do for that is you're going to want to map exactly like you're doing for the other columns and then click on add a company. So this is the previous request, which you just set up, which is this one here. From that request, we give you back the company ID, which we mentioned. You then want to map that in. So the company ID you are getting from this request. So we map that accordingly. Next step is contact custom fields, the exact same situation. You've got the field name and the field value. Do not change anything in green. Only change where it says string, where it might say number. So let's remove this. Let's map in the LinkedIn URL. Do that like this. What else should we do? Let's do title as well. So we are going to copy and paste, add the trailing comma, and then map this as title, and then the field value as title, just like that. The last two fields are origin and contact status. This is going to entirely depend on your strategy, client to client, company to company. What we like to do is actually throw in the origin of Clay, depending on pretty much just some context, depending on where we obtain the data from, we throw in the origin as that source of data. So if we obtain the data from Clay, we throw in the origin as Clay. If we obtain the data from Apollo or Crunchbase, we would then throw in the data as Crunchbase like that, or Apollo like that. This is the way that we do it because we want to track our source of data. If we have data that is severely underperforming, we want to know where we obtain that data from. If we send to a campaign, we're getting very low reply rates as an example. In order for us to properly diagnose that, we want to know where did we get the emails from, and then we can do our investigation that way. So all of that to say, this is entirely depending on your strategy. You guys can come up with that, but I like to put in the source of data, which in this case is Clay. Same goes for contact status. You can put in new contacts. You can leave this blank. For the sake of this video, I'll throw in new contacts. The last thing we want to assign are the headers. We'll get that from here, and it'll be X-API-key, and then paste that value in just like that. And then press save and don't run because we only want to run these four, and then you can run those out. And what you'll see here, status code 201. And now if we go back into RevyOps, press on contact list. There we go. You can actually edit these columns. Let's add these back in. But here you can see the data which we've just pushed through. And you can also see, if we jump onto the list, you should be able to see the contact count 1111. Because now we've assigned those contacts and we push contacts in that work for those specific companies or are related to those companies. So this is how to set up a push from Clay into RevyOps. If you have any questions, obviously let us know. Thank you very much.